Dr. Gottlieb, we just spoke with Barry Sternlicht a little bit about what the administration is now discussing with business leaders, this idea that they should be indemnified, not have liability for anything that happens once they reopen their business, either for employees or for customers. And I can certainly understand businesses saying we can't be held liable for this, for everything that happens. But at the same time, if you indemnify them from all of that, doesn't that potentially give them carte blanche to not take things as seriously, to not make sure that they are offering as many protections as they should? How do you balance those two sides?
Yeah, it's not clear to me what risk you're trying to mitigate here, because we have risk of infectious disease already in society, and businesses aren't necessarily held liable for outbreaks that occur when people come in and are undiagnosed and pass on an infection. You have outbreaks of measles. You have outbreaks of flu, certainly. You have outbreaks of chicken pox. You have outbreaks of multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis. And these happen in closed settings. They happen in amusement parks. They happen in theaters. And they're traced back to those locations. And we don't have liability being assessed, all over the economy for those outbreaks. I'm not sure why this would be treated any different from a liability standpoint or from an indemnification standpoint. I'm not sure how we would do that.
Doctor, what do you need for herd immunity? What's the minimum? You need 50, you think?
Well, it depends on the transmissibility of the virus. And so if we say that the R naught, meaning the number of new cases you get for each individual case, is 2, then you would need 50% of people to be infected. If we say the R naught is 3, meaning you get 3 new cases for every 1 case that gets diagnosed, then the R naught would need to be around 66%. And it looks like then you'd need herd immunity. To get herd immunity, you'd need 66% infected. It looks like the R naught's probably a little bit higher than what we first anticipated. So, probably the case fatality rate is going to be a little less than 1, and there was some speculation it'd be around 1%, but the transmissibility of this is going to be a little higher. So it might be above 3. Some of the modeling shows that it could be above 3. This seems to be a highly contagious virus with a lot of asymptomatic spread. The series on the amount of asymptomatic spread you get is anywhere from 20 to 40%, the reliable studies.
Scott, when is the remdesivir, the broader study, when is that expected? I'm just wondering, we saw the beginnings of some coming out. When is that due? Just wondering for us to keep an eye on it.
So there's 3 studies that we're watching. One is in 400 patients with mild and moderate disease. That should read out within weeks or a week. There's a larger study that was originally 600 patients. It's been upsized of severe patients. That's going to read out. It's going to take a little longer for that to read out, but there might be some interim data coming out of that before the study's fully enrolled. And then there's the study that everyone's watching by NIH, by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. That's a randomized placebo-controlled study. That should read out towards the end of May. And so that's the study that people are looking towards for a definitive answer. But the 400-patient mild-moderate study should read out much sooner, and that's going to give us a pretty good indication of whether or not the drug's having a treatment effect.
Hey, Doctor, real quick, Georgia, as you know, is going to be reopening, or at least partially reopening on Monday, including gyms. Given the numbers there, is this advisable?
Well, gyms, nail salons, bowling alleys, hair salons, tattoo parlors. It feels like they collected a list of the businesses that were most risky and decided to open those first. I think that we should focus on trying to bring people back to work in factories, commercial settings, offices first, and open some of those businesses that are providing services, discretionary services secondary. Notwithstanding the fact that I understand there's a lot of small businesses behind these professions that are being badly hurt. But you want to get the economy going. You want to bring back the businesses that contribute more to GDP first if you can.
Okay.